Okay, I think we have two last people who are entering from the waiting room. I'll try and do a share screen now.
Recording in progress.
Sorry. Haven't used the online class for so long already. Forgot how to use the Zoom. Okay, sorry. So there's two parts to this. Yeah, so the first part is the mini project. So this is the mini project and that's due in January. So you have time over Christmas to put it together. So it's quite easy. I don't expect any how do you say it? Anything too fancy lah in your video editing or anything. So don't need to worry too much about it. But it's a group project. Okay. And I understand maybe during Christmas some of you are not going to be around, you're not going to be together, but it actually doesn't make a difference. So you can just put the video together while you're all online and shoot it in your own respective places. It's also okay. So it's a group project and maximum is 5 people. I hope you can see the screen. I did a share screen. I hope you can see it. But it's also going to be online now. It's going to be on eLeap and I'll share it to you on WhatsApp as well. So there's a group of about 5 people, right? Or how many people you have in your present group lah, group list that you've already made. And so you have the group list that is on the Google Sheet that you shared before already, right? So you can just use the same group. In this case, I would like you in your groups to document at least 5 different aquatic organisms. So each one would choose an organism, right, that lives in the water or lives partly in the water. So anything, fish or squid or crabs, any kind of exotic aquatic organism as well that you do eat. Okay, so it's about food. It's about seafood, which matches today's lecture. So the seafood is something that maybe you have in the daily meal or you have especially with your family during special occasions, also okay. Yeah. So what you should identify in your writing, in your report, yeah, is their name, their local name, general name. So maybe there's certain type of fish that in the market they just call ketam bunga or something like that. So what is their local name and also then what is their scientific name? So try to find out what is the specific name for that crab. Okay. Now this is quite easy. You take a picture, you ask on Google Lens. Also, it will give you some examples already. So if you have chance, also try to talk to the seller, or if you buy it from a fisherman or fishing area, you can ask them, the seller, what is the common fishing technique? Okay, so how did they catch this? Okay, you can ask them. So that's the advantage of instead of buying in a supermarket lah. If you can visit a fisherman or a fishing market, then you can ask what is the fishing technique. If not, you will have to find out yourself. Yeah, and then what is the price at the local market where you are? And then try to see whether it's a safe and sustainable type of seafood. Okay, so you can consider whether the fishing techniques, how is the impact to the biodiversity from the way they are caught, make it that this fish is a sustainable fish or not. And you can also refer to a few safe and sustainable seafood forums, okay, to find out whether it's sustainable or not. So there's two parts to the project. The soft copy report you can just upload onto eLip. This one only the ketua kumpulan need to send it in. Okay, so the ketua kumpulan send it in. Make sure the front page cover has all your names of your members. I will give you an example of how the cover should look like. Of course, you can edit it, but all the information should be inside. And then also then the video. Okay, so I will talk a little bit about the video after this. It should be about 10 minutes long. Okay, so if you do it something like 8 to 10 minutes is okay lah, yeah. Every project member should present inside the project. So their face should appear lah, their face or their voice should appear. Okay, you can decide lah how you want to split it. I would encourage that you try to do it a bit like a mix of a documentary style or a video that is interesting. Okay, so it can be like you do a trip to the market and then what are the different types of things that you see. You can also put a little presentation about like maybe how you want to prepare the food. So some groups in the past, that's what they did. They put like they bought crabs, then they do about a very short video how they like TikTok like that lah, like very short 1 minute how they presented the food to be cooked. Okay, and then so you should then upload this onto YouTube or Vimeo. So basically then what you do is you're just sending me the link. You don't send me the whole video, you only send me a link of where it is, where the video is. Okay, and then the soft copy report you upload onto eLip lah. Okay, so a little bit about the specifications of the report. Okay, what I expect in the report, maximum is only about 4 or 5 pages. All right. This is not including if you got your cover, your appendix at the back, you want to put pictures, your list of references that you had looked at, videos that you look at, or books that you look at, or websites that you look at. Put the list of references. That one doesn't count to the 4 pages. So the 4 pages is just content. Okay, so I don't expect too much writing either. Yeah, so it's only about 4. If you go overboard, it's fine. Yeah, but it's roughly around 4 pages, not less. Okay, minimum. Use font 12 if you can, but if you feel you got a lot to write, you want to do in font 10 is also okay lah. Whatever font, I can remove this font next time. You can use Calibri also if you want, doesn't matter. But what's important is you make sure you aligned it and the report looks like a proper report lah, with your alignment and everything. Okay, and then don't make it too cramped, so make sure you leave margins along the sides. So it's easier to look at. Okay, and I will give you the example of the cover page. Make sure the information is there. Okay, of course you can edit it how you want, but make sure the information that is expected, the group members, your title, everything is all nicely done. Okay, so that is presentable. All right, so this mini project is about 20%. Okay, and I think it's quite doable, 20%, because it's 10% for video, 10% for your report. Okay, and then the second part of it I will share now is the reflection. Okay, so then the reflection part is also due a bit later. If you think you need extra time, you want to submit on the 6th of January is also okay. So then you submit everything online by 6th January. Okay, your project's reflection, your project's soft copy report, and together with your reflection on the 6th of January, I think it's okay lah. So in addition to you've already done the Seaspiracy and also you've done your group project and any additional reading that you may have, I would like to see a reflection. So this is individual, this is not group. This one, everybody do their own, right? So this is 10% of your own personal reflection, right? So after you've read up about safe and sustainable seafood choices, what are your views on that, your responses based on especially like how your family eat, how you eat, the choices of seafood that you make. And then some of the main ideas towards change would include like if you speak to friends about it or you speak to family about it, especially about their eating habit, how do you think we can help to protect the sustainable seafood in Malaysia? So it's very much a personal thing lah. Yeah? In the past years, there are some who reflect about eating of shark fin, for example. So then they reflect about, if their family eats shark fin, if they talk about not eating shark fin anymore, how the family feel about it, how do they feel about it. It's a personal choice, right? Because it's not illegal yet to eat shark fin, although we know that the practice is very cruel to the sharks. And it's, not necessary. It's not something you have to have. But it's so much a part of our culture that we accept eating shark fin already. So, so no right or wrong in this case, just reflect on personal choices. Okay. So I put in a rubrics there that may help you when I go in more detail to the rubrics. So I will use these rubrics to look at your reflection. So how in depth that you had read about it or watched videos about it, talk to your family about it, any kind of context that you may have. So this is a bit like your introduction and reading lah, background reading, how much you put into it, and then your language, and then how you demonstrate your use of your, how you demonstrate, how you write about your reflection. Okay, so pretty easy. Yeah, don't stress too much, because really you just write how you feel about it after you talk to your family and after you've done a lot of reading. Okay, so there's two parts of it: the reflection and the project. Let me show again, and then the project, which is the video and the soft copy report. Okay, so I want to give you guys the opportunity now to ask questions about this if you have. If you don't want to open your video, it's also okay. You can use your chat function. Okay, I'm going to try and see if I can open the chat function. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about this? The report, is it okay? The project? You can put in your chat group as well if you want to type it out. Okay, I'm letting people into the room again. There's some people who maybe got kicked out and they're coming back in. Okay, so in any case, it's recorded, so you can look back again to the recording of this. Okay, no questions, huh? So I guess it's clear. Okay, if it's clear, then I will move on to the lecture. We don't have too much time for the lecture today. Yeah. So we'll see where we get cut off. If we get cut off, then you just come back into the room again using the same ID. Okay. All right. So let's start. Let me try and see if I can share this. Present. Okay. All right. Can you see the screen? Is it okay? Yep. Is it okay? Can see? Okay, you can see the screen. Okay, thank you so much, Hanisa and Hilary. Okay, so today's lecture is about seafood, which matches with your project as well. Okay, it's about seafood resources. Okay, by the end of this unit, we know how to choose some fresh seafood in the market. And then we get to see some of the agencies which are involved in fishing in Malaysia, and also an introduction a little bit about different catching methods that we have. So you can then explain about how these catching methods are. Okay, so commonly available in the market, right, that you may eat every day, fish, prawn, shrimp, squids, cuttlefish, shellfish, lobsters, crabs, yeah, and octopus. Maybe lobster, crab, and octopus you don't eat every day lah, yeah. But those are all freely available in the market, right? So, yeah, wrong spelling there. Reflection exercise. You know, usually when you go and buy seafood, your mom and dad and yourself will always try and choose the best seafood that you can, right? So that, not only it tastes good and it's value for your money, but more importantly, for a health issue, you want to avoid having any food poisoning, because if you eat bad seafood, you can get very, very bad salmonella poisoning, for example. Okay, so how do you do this? So in the first place, usually your mom will probably have taught you this is when you look at the eyes. When you look at the eyes, they should look like this fish here. Yeah, the eyes are clear and bright, and there's no cloudy. So usually if it's cloudy, it means that the fish is already starting to rot. The protein is already starting to break down. Secondly, that we always look at is the gills. So you will open up the fish at the side of the head, and then you can look at the gills. So if the gills are still pink and red and it's not slimy, that means that this fish is still fresh. If it starts to become a brownish, greenish, grayish color, that means it is not fresh anymore. So I think this one is quite a common way. Yeah. Some women, they will like to press the fish. Yeah. Even when I go to the big supermarket, sometimes I see old ladies pressing all the fish at the market there, right? So what do they look for is when you press it, it's firm and it's elastic. It's not when you press it, it's soft and then it doesn't, it doesn't recover back. So when you press it, it should, recover back. So you press gently, it's firm. Okay. If you press it and then it's like Play-Doh, you press and then it just stays, then this fish is not fresh. There's something wrong. The meat, the protein is probably already breaking down. Okay. Another way is looking at the skin. So these are the less common ways. Yeah, usually we look at the eyes and lung, we already choose the fish. But some people, they will go further, they will start looking at the skin. If the skin and the scales are nice and, fitting, they're tak broken lah, dia punya scales, then you know that this fish is also quite fresh and it hasn't been injured. Yeah. If you are buying fish that's already cut, then it's harder, right? You can't see the eyes and the gills, so you can't tell. Okay, we have 10 minutes. You can't tell. So in a choice of a fillet fish or where it's already cut, you will look at the meat, right? So the meat should look intact and translucent, so dia nampak cantik lah dia punya meat. Kalau lepas dia potong, kalau dia dah frozen, usually the meat is not intact. The meat starts to break up a bit, right? So it should look good like that and no browning. So kalau tepi-tepi dia dah kering-kering, you start to see it's drying out and it's browning, then it's not fresh anymore. And of course, then the other most important thing is smell. If you smell it and it smells fresh, then that's good. If it starts smelling a bit fishy and you feel like, dah tak sedap dah bau dia, then make sure that you don't buy that fish lah. Okay. And if it's for prawns and shrimps, then it's a bit different from fish. So in shrimp case, you will be looking again at the meat. Kalau the meat looks firm, yeah, and dia tak berbau, especially for prawns. If it's not fresh, it really, really stings. So you smell it. If it smells tak ada bau teruk sangat lah, then you know that it's still okay. Yeah. The best is to buy the prawns when they have the shell on. So most people will buy it with the shell on. If it's no shell, usually they're frozen, so it doesn't matter. But in the case of fresh prawns, where you have the shell, you can see whether it's fresh. So it will be translucent. So in this case, dia nampak macam shiny and it's translucent. So that means it is still fresh. Kalau dia dah nampak cloudy, dia tak bagus lah. Then you look if there's black edges. So dia punya tepi-tepi will have black. And especially kepala dia lah. If it starts to become very black, then you don't buy that. Okay, it means it's not fresh. Okay, if you buy the prawns yang sudah masak, of course, then the color will not be the same. It will be macam ni lah, pinkish. Okay, so cooked shrimp will be firm and the color will usually be like this, like reddish. Okay, the meat color would be translucent again, dia kilat-kilat, and then it looks very pinkish. Yeah. Okay, and then how about for squids and squids and cuttlefish? So for squids and cuttlefish, when you look at the eyes, so the eyes are here, mata dia is a bit like fish lah. So the eyes will be clear and full. So and it looks clear, yeah, tak cloudy. And when you look at the skin, this is the skin lah on top. Okay, so it has like a layer here, this red layer. So that skin should be firm and untorn. Okay, so kalau dia belum koyak-koyak, macam ni dia nampak firm, then it is fresh. Okay, because when it is not fresh, then kulit dia ni akan mula mengupas. Okay, the skin starts to come off. So when it's fresh like this, creamish and reddish spots over it, this is normal, right? But if it starts to grow old, then you start to see that the meat and the skin starts to change to very pinkish color. Yeah, then that's not fresh anymore. Right? So for crabs and lobsters, it's a bit trickier. Even for me, I find it quite tricky trying to look for fresh crabs and lobsters. When you press the shell, so when you have a fresh crab, yeah, so I'm not talking about frozen, this is fresh. When you press the shell is keras lah, hard. Okay, so usually we don't buy soft shell if it's fresh like this, because if you're buying the shell is soft, it means you're paying more money for a crab that has actually just changed its shell. So crabs grow in steps. Yeah, they fill out their shell, and then when they want to grow bigger, they molt, they change their outer shell, and they make a new shell for themselves. So if the shell is soft, it means that it's a new shell. Isi dia tak banyak. Yeah, so it doesn't have much meat because it's a new shell that is filling out. So it's better to actually buy an older shell, the shell keras, so that you have more meat. Right, so the shell outlook shouldn't look too shiny, because like this, kalau dia shiny sangat, it means that maybe they use chemical to clean the shell already. So this is not good lah. You don't want it to look so clean and so white. Yeah. So if you look at the bottom, you will have one that's like this shape on the left here, and then on the right here you see another shape. So this is actually both okay. Right, it is not one is gemuk, one is kurus. It's actually telling you male and female. So the one on the left here, right, the thin line, thin shell, is actually male. And kalau dia banyak ruang macam ni, that is a female. So that means she got a lot of space for eggs. Yeah. So in this case, you can look at this crab. So what sex is this crab? See, it's thin. This is a male crab. Yeah. If it's female, it would be wider because she needs to carry eggs. Okay. So there are some people who they prefer to choose female crabs because they want the eggs, but actually to be more sustainable, it's better that you choose male crabs, so that female crabs can make more babies for more crabs in the future. So we try to choose male crabs. In the choosing of it, you make sure that the pincers are all intact. Kalau dia nampak gemuk-gemuk, pincer dia baguslah, sedap makan. And then there's no bad smell. Sometimes you will find that the crab has both male and female. Okay, so that's a bit mysterious. So there's a newspaper cutting here where this one has both male and female. Okay, in this case, they know because this particular crab species, kalau dia male female, warna dia lain, pincers dia warna lain. So dia dapat tengok yang ni ada dua, dia male dan female sekali. This is not so common lah, sometimes. Okay, we have about 3 minutes left, so I'll explain about the ecdysis process. That means it's the changing of the skin. And then we can take a 5-minute break, 5 to 10 minute break, and then you come back into the waiting room, and then we'll start the class again lah. Okay. So the molting process. So molting ni macam ni lah, ni ketam dengan kulit baru, ni kulit lama. Okay. So the exoskeleton, that means the shell outside, exoskeleton. Okay. Dia boleh bertukar. So what happens is sometimes when they change also, dia mungkin tertinggal tisu atau missing limb. So tangan, kaki dia mungkin terlekat lah dengan badan yang lama. Tapi nanti dia boleh timbul balik lah. They will grow out the missing limb. Okay, it will regenerate again. So sometimes they have missing limbs. So this is another reason why we don't want to choose one that is molting. So the process is quite fast. It takes less than an hour, the most is an hour, and they will do it while they are in the water. So they are a bit vulnerable at this time. They will hide, and they'll do it while they're hiding. Okay. So there's a process here or to look how they molt, but I will also I will show you a video as well. I will try and look for a video. If not, you can find a video online. So number one here, you see that's a complete crab. And number two, you see slowly it's coming out from the back. Yeah, dia keluar dari belakang and it's leaving behind the pincers and the kaki semua lah. So it's coming out. It's coming out and then this one at last pincers dia yang lain semua dah terkeluar. So dia dah tukar. So yang ni atas ni shell lama. Yang bawah ni shell baru. So you can actually compare and see the crab size is bigger, ya. Tapi badan dia kosong lah, shell dia besar. Tapi dalam dia punya isi masih kosong. So they have space to grow. So this is how they grow by changing their shells. Okay. So this is one species, Calanectus sapidus. Right. So you can see some more pictures here. Oh, sorry, of them starting to molt. Right. So it's coming out from the back. You see in this case, dia dah mula keluar dari belakang. Lepas tu dia tinggal shell yang lama. So you can see that, you know, they leave behind some parts. The new shell is at least 30% larger. So dia 1/3 lebih besar. And in this case, you see they left behind old parts of appendages as well as even lungs dia, gills dia ni tertinggal di belakang tu. Paru-paru dia lah, gills dia tertinggal belakang. So the shell will be soft and it will be weak and there's not much meat. So usually we try not to eat the crab when it's in this form. Yeah. Okay. We have less than a minute left. So what happens is I will come out now and I will stop the video and then come back in about 5 to 10 minutes. I'll give you guys a coffee break. And if you have any questions, you can also ask me in the chat. And we will continue again in 5 to 10 minutes lah. Okay, when everybody is back into the room. All right. So just come back into the same room. All right. I'll stop the video now, come back into the same room, and then we'll continue the class. All right. Thanks so much. Hi, welcome back. Hope you guys had a good break. Okay, so we'll continue back again. We have 32 people here. I think just now was until 37, but it's okay. If they come in later, I will let them in. All right. Okay, let's try this presentation. Okay, here we are. Okay, so if you are looking at the fresh crab, here we're going back to crabs again. If you are looking at, oh, I should record this, isn't it? Aha. Okay, good. Wait.
Recording in progress.
Okay, hi, welcome back. So we'll go back to crabs again, yeah, and lobsters. So we'll continue our second part of the lecture. All right, so earlier on you were looking that crabs, they can go through a molting process, which means that they leave their old shell and they grow 30% larger in their new shell. All right. So how do you choose a crab? Now you know that you shouldn't get one that's too soft. Make sure that one is hard, and you know it's hard and heavy, then it's very full. Another one is when you're looking at a crab, especially if they're selling you a live one, that you know they're still moving. So it's quite common that you find they're tied up like this in raffia, but or any other string, and you will see that you know they can still have leg movement, they're still moving, so you know that they are alive. And usually their tails, if you're buying lobsters, the tails will be curved underneath the body. So if you hold up the lobster, the tail will curl underneath the body, so that you know that lobster is alive and healthy. If they are refrigerated, that means usually they sell them chilled on ice. They will still be active, yeah. And so that is quite normal. They will still be able to move even if they are on ice. If you buy the lobsters and they are already cooked, then you should look at their shell. It should be bright in color. Usually becomes red when they're cooked. All shellfish are. But you know, shouldn't look brown lah. It should look cooked. When it's cooked, it should look reddish or orangish. Okay. And then how do you choose fresh shellfish? Okay. When you are choosing shellfish, this is very important. Some people have an allergy to shellfish. Okay. I also have a mild allergy, especially when I was young. And so if I eat this when I was young, memang the throat semua kembang lah. So kena jaga makan. Tapi kalau dia fresh, shellfish yang macam lokan, kerangan, kalau dia fresh, saya okay. Okay. So it's quite often you'll find that they are cooked when they are sold, but also they're in Malaysia lah. They're cold, not only cold but live as well. Yeah. And freshly shucked, maksudnya dia dibelah kepada dua. Okay, so quite often kalau pergi pasar nak beli, banyak juga yang dijual sudah dibelah dua. Yeah, it's really shucked. So of course each form and species will be quite different, but the most important one is when you smell it, it doesn't smell bad. Especially for shellfish, kalau dia dah mati, usually kalau dia jual fresh, kalau dia dah mati, dia takkan buka lah. Yeah? So if it's fresh, you can see the mouth is open and it's bubbling. Especially if you bring home, you letak garam dalam air, you letak garam sikit, lepas tu you letak you punya kerang kat dalam. Kalau dia hidup, dia akan buka mulut dia lah. Then any pasir ke apa ke yang dalam badan dia, dia akan macam muntah lah. They will spit it out. Okay. So that's quite a normal sight. So when you look at them, they have like this dia punya tongue macam ni lah. Sticking out lah. Okay, so they'll have these slightly gaping shells. So if you touch them, they will close. Yeah, then you know this is alive. Okay, so yang you touch dia tak bergerak, maksudnya yang tu dah mati lah. So you make sure you throw them out, because if not, you will get very, very bad food poisoning. Okay, so like I said, the best way is you put them in a little bit of water with salt, and you can see they will start to spit out all the dirt. Okay. So if they don't do it and they're not moving, then make sure you throw it out. But once they're cooked, it's different. Okay, so when they cook, yang ni contoh yang dia tengah masak, they should open when they're cooking. Okay, if not, Kalau dia tak dapat buka, maksudnya yang ni jangan makan. Okay, so you don't. So when you cook it should look like this. It will open. If it does not open, then you should not eat it. Maksudnya dia dah mati, dia tak bergerak. Okay. So when you're looking at oyster, it's also the same. Kita pergi restoran nak makan oyster yang mahal-mahal ni, but a lot of times people get food poisoning because this is very hard to keep fresh. Okay, so when you look at it, it should look very plump. Dia belum kecut, dia masih nampak kembang lah. Kembang dan fresh dia nampak macam ni. Kalau dia dah mula kecut daripada shell dia, maksudnya dia dah tak fresh lah. And it should be covered in mucus. So kalau dia ada lendir yang nampak fresh berair macam ni, maksudnya dia adalah fresh lah. So yang ni adalah contoh yang dia fresh. Kalau dia dah mula nampak cloudy, air yang kat dalam dia, mucus dia dah cloudy, milky colour, maksudnya yang tu dah tak fresh. So you jangan makan. Okay. So scallops or other type of oysters like this one, you tengok dia punya badan ni masih nampak plump lah, nampak full and plump, and no milky colour. So yang ni fresh. Same for scallops as well. Dia memang bau dia pun tak ada bau yang hanyir lah. Okay. Kalau dia dah ada bau hanyir like this iodine kind of smell or soury smell, it means that dia dah tak bagus lah. Jangan makan. So there's a lot of fish agencies in Malaysia that actually they don't take care of the freshness, but actually they're taking care of the fish landing. So under the Ministry of Agriculture, we have a department called Department of Fisheries atau DOF. Okay, so they exist in both West Malaysia and in Sabah Sarawak. So they are governed by an act. That's the Fisheries Act 1985. So dia ada kuasa untuk menjaga perikanan dan juga hak untuk nelayan kita lah. Okay, so there's also another type of fishing agency which is the Inland Fisheries and Aquaculture. Yang ni adalah di bawah setiap negeri, each state. And so what happens is dia bukan jaga nelayan di laut, tapi dia juga menjaga nelayan yang mereka panggil darat lah. Okay, inland, which is fresh water atau brackish water. That means kawasan-kawasan di tepi sungai yang dekat dengan laut. Okay, tapi mereka membuat perikanan sungai. So this is inland fisheries. So yang ni dua, either at state level or at federal level, they help to regulate fisheries. Okay. So what they do is they don't only do like helping the nelayan semua untuk register boat, but they also run breeding programs. So they have a few types of breeding programs before this, lobster, ketam, kerangan, jenis-jenis ikan. Mereka membuat indok. So they have a main facility where they are breeding the fish. Okay, and then anak-anak ikan dia tolong jual kepada nelayan atau dia akan letak ke laut. So this is the example of the inland fisheries site where they have empurau breeding. Yang ni untuk daratan lah. So they have this setup as you see here with the tanks, and yang ni dia ada broodstock, that means dia indok lah, and then they will induce eggs. Yeah, and then they will have a lot of baby empurau which they then grow. So aquaculture is quite supported by the government. In aquaculture means farming of any kind of aquatic resource. Yang ni bukan sahaja ikan, jenis kerang-kerangan dan ketam, lobster, tetapi juga tumbuh-tumbuhan. So there are some types of aquatic plants that are also grown. So yang ni untuk pemakanan lah. Okay. We also have other institutions yang ni dia bukan di bawah kerajaan sepenuhnya, tapi dia macam GLC jugalah. So for one example is MIMA, Maritime Institute of Malaysia, yang dia akan menjadi wakil kerajaan untuk berbincang di peringkat global. So they are our global platform representing the government. Okay. But they're actually a GLC lah. So this Maritime Institute, they deal with all kinds of maritime issues on a world stage, right? And they're part of this technical cooperation for our regional, dengan jiran-jiran kita, dengan luar negara. So they have all kinds of scope. Skop dia berkenaan dengan ocean policy, polisi yang berkaitan dengan lautan, security. This is very important because we actually have a lot of islands and areas di kawasan South China Sea, di Laut Cina Selatan yang sedang didispute. Dispute means there are many countries that claim that area is theirs. So that becomes a security issue lah untuk Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, China, Taiwan, Vietnam. Okay, so we share the same seas. There's a lot of diplomacy needed so that there's not a war out at sea. We cooperate together with the region for protecting the marine environment as well. And there are special working groups on Strait of Malacca sebab dulu ada banyak pirate di kawasan Straits of Malacca. So kalau tanker-tanker ni masuk, ada tanker yang kena kidnap. So there's cases of this have happened dulu-dulu lah. So we have a cooperation in the region to maintain the safety against pirates in the Straits of Malacca. And of course to grow different industries and the economics berkaitan dengan lautan. Yeah. Okay. Other kind of bodies that involved doing research also is one of them is Fisheries Research Institute, so FRIM, FRIM, and they are very large institute under Jabatan Perikanan, and their scope is studying about conservation untuk perikanan, but mainly how to improve the fisheries development and commercialization yang ada di negara kita. Okay. So there's a few others in Sarawak we also have, but this is not so big in Sarawak. Dia besar kat Semenanjung lah, which is LKIM, Lembaga Kemajuan Ikan Malaysia, okay, for Malaysia Fisheries Development Authority, and so they are also another agency under the Ministry of Agriculture. And what they do is they're helping the fishermen. So they provide ice, they provide storage areas untuk nelayan-nelayan kita lah. Okay. So there's a lot of these fisheries agencies, and of course the government have set up laws that help to actually maintain our industry, especially for aquaculture that has to be monitored lah, sebab kalau dibuat terlalu besar-besaran nanti air akan menjadi polluted lah. So it has to be controlled. So we have marine culture system types that are proposed, and the sites will be chosen, and then they need to get a permit from the Ministry of Agriculture. Okay. So there's a few different regulations. Kalau you nak buat lokan atau you nak buat ikan, nanti dia ada dia punya undang-undang lah. Okay, so I think that is almost the last. Oh, that is the last of the unit already. Okay, so that's for the fisheries. So this is part 1 of the fisheries. And then the part 2, I think what I will do is I will record it because we don't have a full class kan. Class sangat kecil je. It's better that I record it so that you guys can watch it in your own time. Okay, so after this, I will set up the quiz. And so you please use the remaining time that we have now until 11 to do the quiz, all right, if you can. But if not, it's also okay. I will have it open until Christmas. So anytime from now until Christmas, you can do the quiz, right? Okay, so that's the end of the lecture. I will stop sharing now. Okay, and I will stop the recording.
Recording stopped.
Okay, sorry Hillary, I just saw you were waiting in the waiting room, so it's all right. In any case, I will upload everything onto YouTube, and then you can share with your friends as well the discussion that we've already had if they missed it in with your group members. But if not, you can look back in the video recording again. I will upload it onto YouTube. Yeah. Okay, so the attendance will be based on the quiz. I will set up the quiz after this so that it can start, and then you have until Christmas to do it. So I will do manual attendance. Make sure you guys do the quiz and start your group assignment so that you can get it started before Christmas. Okay. And that is due in the first week, after the first week of January. Right. So that's all for today. Class yang quite a simple one. And the next class after this, I will put a recording lah. So it will be a recorded lecture for you all. So that Christmas time, you will have a break lah. Okay. So that's all. Thank you very much. Have a good Christmas break. New Year holiday.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.